why am I always so bloated and other nutrition struggles. Today, I'm going to be making a video answering the struggles I get asked the most via email, via comments. I do read all the comments, all the emails I get, and today you will be getting your answers. So this is gonna be rapid fire style. Let me see how many I can get through. Number one, why am I always bloated? And what to do about it. So bloating may have a few different reasons, a few different causes. The first one being an imbalance in your gut microbiome. So you need to make sure that you are eating enough prebiotics and probiotics. Prebiotics you are going to find in fiber-rich foods like fruit and veggies, whole grains, legumes, and probiotics you are going to find in fermented foods like kefir, kombucha, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut. You can also try probiotic supplements. Some people think that it works really well, others don't. The research is kind of mixed. It depends on what you want to do. Another important factor to this is movement. If you are not moving your body enough, not regularly enough, then you will be bloated. It's good to move your body every single day and then multiple times a week to have full exercise sessions. And you can also move 10 to 15 minutes after eating. Some people find that this helps reduce the bloating. Now there are certain foods that can also trigger bloating, like FODMAPs. I made a whole video on FODMAPs if you want to check that out right here or in the description. Some foods are just more trigger foods than others. And carbonated drinks, fizzy drinks, all of that can also cause bloating as well as chewing gum. But if you feel like you're doing all of the above things right and you still experience very uncomfortable bloating, don't hesitate to talk about it with a doctor. Number two, does fruit make me fat? Short answer, no. Yes, fruit has sugar in it, but it also has a bunch of fiber and water, vitamins and minerals, and it's not making you fat. Actually, people who eat a lot of fruit have lower risk of obesity and a lower risk of chronic diseases, and there's just no research saying that fruit in itself causes weight gain. I see so many people focusing on their fruit intake and reducing the amount of bananas they eat or the amount of grapes they eat, when they should be focusing on reducing the refined sugar they eat. So if you're eating pancakes for breakfast from a pancake mix, and if you're eating cookies for your coffee break, and then you're eating cake for dessert or snack, then maybe reduce that a little bit and increase the fruits, and you will see you will not be gaining weight. You'll actually probably lose some. Number three, am I addicted to sugar? Now sugar, the sugary taste does activate the brain's reward system. However, studies show that there isn't really an addiction to sugar like there is for drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, like nicotine, things like that. Usually what feels like addiction is a mix of pleasure and restriction. If you label sugar as bad and you completely cut it out from your diet, then the cravings will only intensify. It's gonna be harder and harder for you not to eat sugar. And there's also an issue of you maybe not consuming enough whole carbs, in which case your brain can give you really strong signals to consume sugar, like refined carbs, so that you get that sugar fix that you're craving pretty quickly. But it's not really that you're addicted to it, more so that you are not giving your body enough carbs, and so it is responding by amplifying the craving. So the solution is that you're eating healthy, balanced meals regularly with enough whole carbs, and also that you are not restricting sugar too much, that you're having it in a way that is balanced, and that you are having a little sweet treat, let's say, pretty often, but don't fall into the other extreme of having it all the time, because then that's going to create this habit of you having sugar all the time, and again, that can feel like addiction, but it's not. Number four, are artificial sweeteners dangerous. Now, if we're solely basing ourselves off of the term dangerous, the answer is no. The FDA and other authorities, like international authorities, consider well-known, well-used artificial sweeteners to be safe as long as you're not exceeding certain doses. But the message is definitely safe in moderation. You don't want to be downing 20 Diet Cokes a day. Some recent studies are showing that artificial sweeteners can slightly affect your gut microbiome and just rearrange it, and that may have a negative impact on your health in general and on bloating, like we also talked about previously. But for me, the bigger issue with artificial sweeteners is the mindset behind them. If you are drinking a diet soda or eating foods that are artificially sweetened, and in your mind you're thinking that it doesn't count, that it's 0 calories and therefore you can eat as much as you want, that's where it really becomes an issue. But if you are just choosing these foods because you enjoy the taste and it's a one-off thing and you're not having a ton of them all the time, then that's not a problem at all.
Number 5, are our soils depleted and our food less nutritious? Now, I get this one a lot, and yes, studies do show that our crops are not as nutritious as they were multiple years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, because of modern farming, because of soil depletion. However, the food you're eating still has a bunch of nutrients. What worries me with this is that people will use this excuse to not eat a lot of fruit and veggies and just instead eat processed foods and eat a bunch of supplements because they think like, what's the use in eating food, whole foods, when our soils are depleted? And that's when it becomes an issue, because trust me, if you're eating 80% whole foods, if you're eating a bunch of fresh or frozen fruit and veggies, and if you're eating whole grains and legumes, then you are getting your nutrients. Even if the soil is a little bit depleted, yes, even if the nutrients aren't as strong as they once were, yes, you are still getting benefits, and you should be focusing on that and not on taking supplements.
Number 6, is it normal to poop only once a week? To put it bluntly, no. You should not be going to the bathroom less than 2 or 3 times a week. Some people go 2 times a day, that's also okay. But if you're only going once a week, there may be a constipation issue. Usually this will be because of lack of fiber, or it can be because lack of water, lack of movement, or if you're on a certain medication, that can impact that as well. Another really important point that a lot of people forget is if you're simply not eating enough, that can also back you up, because your body is waiting to have enough material to send it out, if you know what I mean. Because if you're only pecking at a few calories a day, then that's not going to be enough for you to poop every single day. So make sure that you're eating your 3 to 4 balanced meals a day, that the meals are filling enough and that they are rich with fiber, that you have plenty of whole grains, legumes, fruit, and veggies. Number 7, how do I handle picky eaters? So, disclaimer, I don't have kids yet, so this is just in theory and also from my mom's experience, because she did pretty well raising her kids and not to be picky eaters. So you need to have your kid adapt to your diet and not the other way around. So don't make any separate kid meals for your kids. What you can do is make the meal that you plan on making for the whole family, and then make sure that they have one safe food for them option within the meal as a side, or like one of the foods that is served throughout the meal. Now, don't pressure them into eating, don't bribe them into eating. Just show the example. Have everyone be at the dinner table eating together. They're seeing you eat this food alongside other foods that they like and are safe for them. You're not making a big deal out of it. You're not forcing them to eat anything. But the thing is that you have to expose them to the foods regularly. Some kids will need 10 exposures, 20 exposures to a food before they actually want to try it, want to enjoy it. So it takes patience, but definitely don't give in to just giving your kid whatever they want to eat, unless you know, they have an issue like autistic or ARFID or anything like that. And I have an entire video on healthy eating for kids you can check out here or in the description.
Number 8, is food quality worse in the US compared to France? Now, yes and no. So yes, food in the US contains more additives, preservatives, things like high fructose corn syrup, and certain food dyes that are not allowed in France or in Europe in general. But if we're looking at whole foods, fresh produce, then you do have a bunch of high quality foods in the United States, and it is absolutely possible to eat in a healthy, balanced way if you live in the US. My parents were able to do it with us for 5 years. We ate very nutritious, balanced meals. It's really totally possible. I would say you need to focus more on the whole foods rather than the packaged foods, which is where you're gonna get a bunch of the additives and maybe less of the nutrients if you're eating like too many processed foods. But in general, the food is not terrible. Don't worry, there's a bunch of super healthy food in the USA.
So these were just a few of the common nutrition struggles I hear all the time. If this was one of yours, hopefully this was helpful. Don't hesitate to leave more struggles in the comments or in other comments, in emails, whatever. I write all of them down and I get to them whenever I can. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.